Hey, Don.
Hey, Lex, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good, good.
Good. We're waiting for a few more people to join in, and of course, we're waiting for Mike to join in as well.
Hey, I'm
but
here,
in the
Lex.
meantime, hey.
How are you guys?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem. I am gonna give another minute so that people can join in, and then we'll get started. Okay?
Great.
Awesome.
All right. All right. Well, I think we are getting ready to get started on today's special lunch chat. I'm Lexi Lopez. I'm the chair of the One Voice Hispanic and Latino Employee Resource Group here at Realogy. And it is my pleasure to be having this special half hour of lunchtime with two wonderful presidents, two wonderful friends of mine and mentors. We have Don Casey, who is the president and CEO of Realogy Title Group, and he is also the executive sponsor of One Voice ERG. And we have Mike Miedler, the president and CEO of Century 21 Real Estate LLC. Welcome, guys. Bienvenidos.
Thanks, Lex.
Thanks for having us, Lex. This is going to be fun.
Yes, it is going to be fun. So I want to first start off by saying, again, thank you so much for your time. I know that your schedules are so busy. I know that, you guys are wanted in a much more virtual aspect in all kinds of meetings. So I really appreciate the time that you're giving to us today through One Voice and in honor of celebrating the Hispanic Heritage Month here at Realogy. So thank you guys, both of you.
And Lex, thanks so much for all you've done. I mean, the calendar that you put together has been spectacular, and hopefully everybody is finding the time to join as many things as they can. It's been unreal this entire month.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's so many fun things, not only for the Hispanic Heritage Month, but everything else that's going on in Realogy, and hopefully you guys also saw that wonderful news about being the great place to work at Realogy earlier this morning. I know I've already shared that news on my social media platforms. Hopefully you guys are too. But, one of the things that I really treasure and appreciate is this platform, right? The ERG platform. I've gotten to know so many other individuals throughout the whole Realogy business units that I normally wouldn't have gotten to know. And, now we're friends, we network with each other, we brainstorm with each other, we share things about our lives. And it's truly an amazing experience. So, ERG truly elevates that experience of working at such a great place like Realogy. So I encourage everyone, look up a Realogy, an ERG at Realogy and join one if you want. But it truly is an experience. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this. So today's conversation, we're going to be talking about the NAHREP 10 disciplines. So for those of you who don't know what NAHREP means, it means National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. And I, quite frankly, love to say NAHREP instead of all of those words altogether. But that's just me personally. So NAHREP, it's special to me, and especially through Century 21, that I've been able to participate in events and get to know more about this association. Well, in 2018, I started to learn about the NAHREP 10 disciplines, and it was these guidelines that I'm going to share with you today and that our guests are going to talk about personally as well. With the Hispanic Wealth Project, they were able to come up with these guidelines to help any person live a better, healthier, and financial life. So it's 10 disciplines that as soon as I heard about them, I raised my hand and I said, I absolutely have to learn more about this, and I actually have to try to, incorporate this into my life. Actually, I want to just take a quick second, go through some house rules. If you guys wouldn't mind making sure that you are on mute, that way there's no background noises. This is being recorded. If you guys could just take a quick minute, just make sure that either your phone or your laptops are on mute, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, throughout this conversation, if you have a comment, if you have a question, please use the chat box and enter that in, and then we'll go ahead and address it towards the end of this conversation. I appreciate that. So the NAHREP 10, I was able to become a certified trainer, and I have been privileged and honored to share the messaging of these 10 disciplines to over 700 people so far in over a year. And I am always excited and passionate to share it with my friends, with my family, with my colleagues. So let's get started with this conversation. So I kind of want to take a moment I want to review all the 10 of them, right? Give you quick highlights of them, but then dive into more conversation with Mike and Don with the last 3, which are my favorite, and I love to hear how they've incorporated into their lives. So the first one is have a mature understanding of wealth and prosperity, because the one with the most toys usually loses. So it's being smart about what we're investing in, right? Real estate is the best investment that we can ever make. Stocks as well. And now that, hopefully the markets are turning and changing and improving, this is an opportunity that if you haven't done so already, seek out an expert advice through like a financial advisor, right? But having that mature understanding is definitely key. The second one is be in the top 10% of your profession, because being good is not good enough. Well, here at Realogy, they're always pushing learning opportunities for us. I'm hoping that you guys take advantage of the LinkedIn relationship that we have with Realogy, as well as the Real You, because there's amazing content and learning material out there for everyone. So definitely make sure that you are taking those opportunities to learn. Joining in on conferences. I learned a lot from the Gen Blue conference, right? I'm not Coldwell Banker, but they are Realogy family and we are one family. So I supported them and I joined their Gen Blue conference, and it was wonderful material. So definitely take advantage of any type of these kind of meetings that come up through Realogy or outside sources. Take a moment to knowledge yourself, empower yourself, because that's how you continue to grow. The third one is live below your means and be ready for the next recession, because downturns are a regular part of our economic cycle. So that's exactly what we've been going through, right? I mean, with our companies having, furloughs and layoffs and things like that, like we need to make sure that we are financially ready to tackle on those obstacles, right? I know at home, I appreciate working from home because now I'm not spending money on breakfast or money on lunch or outside stuff. I'm cooking and making stuff here, my girls as well. But it was tightening up those pockets, learning that, right? That we need to evaluate and see what's a priority and what's not a priority. Number 4,
Can I comment on that for a second?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I mean, we're in the middle of a prime example of that, where the fourth quarter of 19 was pretty good for Realogy and everybody, and the first quarter started off really like we were really excited, and then like March 13th, 16th, you kind of hit, and the pandemic hit, and everything just spiraled downward. I mean, quite frankly, the end of March, April, I mean, it was frightening whether businesses would stay in business and all. And so you just never know. And I think that was a really important lesson, again, to number three, living, below your means and ready for something that you can't see coming. Because if you could see it coming, everybody would be prepared, right? So I think that we just lived through a very, very important time period where hopefully, everybody learned important lessons.
Absolutely. And actually it reminds me too, as a young teenager, when I first started working, my parents always said, and when I got my car, they always said, Lexi, make sure that you're saving money because you just don't know. You don't know when your tire is going to blow out. You don't know if your car is going to break down and you're going to need that money, right? So that's something that they always said, was to have that little savings on the side and not touch it. Did I listen? Not really well. But that lesson was taught to me. But especially now, now that I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I have a family to maintain. It's certainly things that it just gives you a different perspective, and it truly pushes you to make these sacrifices that unfortunately have to be made. The next one, number 4, minimize debt because it is the biggest enemy to wealth. Definitely making sure that you're looking at your bank statements, your credit card statements. Maybe there's memberships and subscriptions that you have no idea that you signed up for, a long time ago, and you're still getting some money out. It may not be big, it may be like $2 here, $5 here, whatever, but that all amounts to something. So again, not spending money on things that are not necessary, is a big deal, and it'll help you keep that money into your bank and keep saving. Number 5, invest at least 20% of your income in real estate and stocks because they are the best and safest ways to build wealth. And investing in other businesses do not count. But, if you have the opportunity, especially now, mortgages. I mean, I know that my VP, Jim Stanton, has been sharing statistics about how mortgage applications have been increasing. They haven't been decreasing. They've been increasing, which is wonderful to see. Maybe this is the time that you look to see if there's an opportunity to invest in either your first property or maybe even a secondary property, right? That will help you continue to grow your money. But this is definitely the time. It's definitely the time to reach out to a local expert and find out more information on that.
Lex, let me make a public service announcement on that one as well. I mean, Realogy just made the announcement. I'm sure every one of our employees saw it, right? We just talked about reinstalling the 401k match. We talked about increasing the match. I mean, if you are on this phone, if you are a Realogy employee and you are not putting the full amount into your 401k, whether it's in something really, really conservative that's guaranteed return, or if it's something more aggressive that's gonna, roll the dice and hopefully give you big returns later on when your time to retire, absolutely take advantage of it. It's free money. Realogy is giving you a raise just by matching up to 60% now. So please, 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 if you're not in the 401k match, be in it. And if you're not maxing out, try to max out if you can afford to.
Yes, no, thank you. And actually, Mike, that leads me to number 6, which is knowing your net worth, including the value of your business, because you can't improve what you don't measure. Again, that includes your 401k. That includes the knowing the value of your home if you own a home, knowing the value of what you have in your savings accounts or any other accounts that you have. It's taking that time to look and see and speaking with a financial advisor for the best opportunities out there and seeking their advice. Can you raise your percentages and your contributions from your check into your 401k? I think it's the perfect time to be doing that. Number 7, be politically savvy because public policy matters. And wow, we have a big year in front of us, right? Hopefully you guys are registered to vote. Hopefully you guys are following along with current affairs and current events and doing your research on people who are running for candidacy and looking to see who the right person would be put in place that mirrors what you value and what you want your family to benefit from, right? Because again, it's a legacy that you're trying to build. I mean, this is all what we do. What we do and what we work hard for is for our families. But this is definitely important. If you have not registered to vote, definitely go out there and register yourself. And now, coming to my last 3 disciplines. And again, this is where I am so excited to include more in conversation with Don and with Mike. So Don and Mike, actually, you know what? I'm going to start with Mike. These NAHREP 10 disciplines, when did you first hear about them?
So, NAHREP is obviously an organization that's near and dear to my heart and the heart of Century 21. We've been involved with NAHREP since literally the inception. We're one of the title sponsors. In fact, later on this week, we are the only real estate organization that is a sponsor of Latitude, which is basically a forum of not just real estate professionals, but Latino and Latina business people, entrepreneurs, real estate professionals, arts and entertainment, talking about the Latino culture and what they refer to as the new mainstream economy. So, I heard of NAHREP 10 when it first came out. I think it was like 2016 or 15, but it was in conjunction with their Hispanic Wealth Project. And that was really something to me that's near and dear to my heart, because if you look at all 10 of these, Lex and Don, I really think it's something that you aren't necessarily taught in high school or in college, but like we should be all teaching not just ourselves, but our children, our colleagues about every single one of these, because I think it's just good practice for raising a kid or a financially, fiscally savvy adult, and what we want to do in order to just be better people and live the lives that we want to live. So, each one of these 10 are awesome. There's just so much great knowledge here, but that's why I'm so proud of you, Lex, for getting out there and spreading this word, not just across our NAHREP friends and chapters, but inside of RealG and anybody else who will listen. I think they're great nuggets here, and I applaud Gary and the NAHREP team for coming out with them and putting them out there in public.
Thank you, Mike, for sharing that and for sharing that background of you learning of this. I remember the first time that you shared it with the Century 21 brand was your first time on the stage as president, and how you included, some of your favorite NAHREP 10 disciplines. So, me seeing you so active with it and so passionate about it, it also helped me motivate to learn more about it too. So thank you. Awesome. And Don, what about you? When was the first time you learned about the NAHREP 10?
So unlike Mike, where his was much more of a design strategic approach, business-driven approach to things, I actually recall hearing for the first time the 10 disciplines when I was getting ready to speak at an Ascend event, which is a program for next generation leaders that RealG puts on. So it was, I think it was a couple of years ago, and I remember just listening to two people that were in the audience, and we're just waiting for the panel to start. I remember them talking about it, and the passion and the energy that it would create. It really caused me to go home and kind of research it a little bit to find out exactly what they were talking about. So that was more of a, I stumbled upon it only because I was fortunate enough to be kind of eavesdropping on some people talk about things.
Great. All right. Well, I'm glad that you both were had the opportunities to learn about these NAHREP 10 disciplines, and I know you guys have supported me in teaching and presenting these. So I thank you both, truly from my heart for that. So let's talk about number 8. Being physically fit, because wealth without health is meaningless. Don, I'll start with you. How do you incorporate this discipline into your life? So,
I've always been an early morning person, early riser, and I committed, years and years ago that, if I'm going to work out, it's got to be in the morning, because I'll find every excuse under the sun. If it goes on throughout the rest of the day, I'll find every excuse not to. So for the past, I don't know, probably 12, 15 years, I get up between, 5:30 and 6 and get to the gym. And what's interesting is you find like a little family there, because all these crazies that get up early and work out, you become kind of attached to them. And then you always see a new group of people coming in, right around New Year's. And after week 1, they disappear again. And when they lose their resolutions. But, I've always stuck to that, regimen. And quite frankly, it was because I knew that if I didn't do something early in the morning before, and that's why I started the day, that, come dinner time, come, any time after work, there's going to be great excuses. And and I couldn't afford to do that. So this was my time, and I had to do that in the morning, early morning.
Wow, I can't even imagine getting up right now at that time. I mean, it's hard enough for me to get ready for a 9 o'clock start in my day now. It's so crazy how that's changed me. But
Well,
wow, I commend you with.
children teach you that sleep is overrated. So I learned that early.
Well, actually, and Mike, I mean, I think you kind of follow the same kind of exercising and schedule. Why don't you talk about yours, how you
I
fit
do.
into physical fitness
I'll
into your
build on, yeah, Lex, I'll build on what Don said. It's funny because, for those of you who know me and maybe some of them are on the phone, when we were going into the office, I would work out in the Madison gym. And you had that crazy little family, Don, the dozen or so that were there every morning, and they come and go, but you see the same regular faces consistently. I'm like Don. I like to call myself an early riser. I'm not an early riser by Don's standards. I know some guys that I work out with literally up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm like, guys, I need my beauty rest. I need sleep, but there's no way I can get up that early. But truth be told, I'm like, Don, I got to do it first thing in the morning. And honestly, gang, there is nothing that gets in the way of my workout, because one, it keeps me physically fit and active, like this says, but it also clears your head. You'd be surprised how much it can do for you mentally if you just get out there and spend some time for yourself. And again, whether, it could be as easy as, taking a walk around your block, or maybe you're into yoga or meditation or something that gets you just physically fit, but allows you to clear your head. And I think, again, before social media, before I eat breakfast, before I talk to my family, before I do anything, I make sure that I have time to work out and spend time on my physical fitness, because I think it's, like you said, the most important thing that you can do for yourself, literally, to start the day.
Yeah, no, those are great advice. Something that I started with Brian Pitt, a colleague at Century 21. He does this 30 for 30 fitness thing where you take 30 minutes of your day and just do something, any kind of activity. So I started doing the walking. I did it consistently in June and July. I kind of stopped in August, I guess, because it was too hot, and then I just got crazy with other things. But I kind of picked it up again now that the nicer weather and cooler weather is out. So there's no excuses. So I'm doing that. But I like the way that you said, Mike, about how it clears your mind, right? I've experienced that myself. Just doing a 30-minute walk, I can declutter what's in my head and kind of make space for future things that I got to do either the next day or the next week. And it also, I found sometimes, like on my walks in the neighborhood, inspiration for something, right? Like that creativity kind of sparks in. So I definitely think that physical fitness, along with mental health, and maybe even spiritual health, right? I think those are very key things to help you live the best life that you can live.
Lex,
So
let me just say maybe one more thing for people who haven't done it like for 15 years, like Don and I have. Start out really small. Make a promise to yourself that you're going to do it 2 or 3 days for 10 minutes. Go for a walk around your block after you eat dinner, whatever it is. Just start small and you can build from there. And eventually it'll be 15 years later, you're still doing it in this awesome routine. So just start small if you haven't started.
Yeah, and
that's a great tip.
Don't be afraid to try new things. I see Louise is on the call, so she's going to laugh. But my daughter, as a hobby, she loves yoga. And so she got certified as an instructor, and she pushed me. And I started doing yoga a year ago. And it's, believe me, I was apprehensive about telling people that, but it really, in terms of fitness as well as just mental, it's a tremendous program. And as Mike said, start slow. Just try things and get outside your comfort zone a little bit.
Great advice, guys. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I know we're coming up on time. We have about 6 minutes, so we'll do about 3 minutes on the last two disciplines that we have. So Mike, I'm going to start with you on this one. Number 9 says, be generous with people who are less fortunate, because philanthropy feeds your spirit and gives more purpose to your work. How do you or your business or the people around you, how do you see them living this discipline, or yourself?
Yeah, I'll try to be quick because I know we got limited time. But we at Century 21, from a business standpoint, we're tied to our philanthropic partner, Easter Seals, who's been our partner for 30 plus years. We've raised millions and millions of dollars for them. It's something that we try to incorporate in every event and everything we do when we're thinking about people. But I'd also say, whatever you're passionate about, go out and try to give back towards. My kids had a bake sale last summer, and they got a bunch of kids in the neighborhood because they all love to bake. And they sold their brownies and cookies, and they wind up taking the money and donated it to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So, like, whatever you're passionate about, go out and maybe, try to think about how you can help others who are in need. That'd be my quick advice.
Thank you. Don, how about you?
Yeah, that's great advice, Mike. And so I spend a considerable amount of time. Camden's one of the poorest cities in not just New Jersey, but in the country. And there's an organization there called the Camden Catholic Partnership Schools, which is basically 5 middle schools that pool resources. And I, for quite a few years, I sat on their athletic board and helped, manage and run and give these kids opportunities to play basketball. We started track and field programs, we started baseball programs, and that to me, I saw an immediate positive impact, and it's meant a great deal. The other thing is my wife works with the same organization in Camden, but many times they do a great job of providing housing for needy and people that are really trying to make it work and just can't. And so they provide housing, but one of the things that they miss is they don't furnish the homes. So she's started a program with a couple of friends, and they started collecting donations for furniture and all kinds of different things. And they'll go in and literally, as the people go to work, they'll be there with the social workers, and they'll completely furnish their homes to see the reactions of the mothers and the children when they come home from work or school. It's just absolutely amazing. And people have commented that they've never had a toaster, they've never had a clock on their wall, and that they get to keep it, things like that. Like, it's just amazing. And you don't, unless you do and experience something like that, you really won't know the impact you're having on people.
Hey, Don, can I add to that? Because I bet, we often talk about, giving back in the form of stroking a check, making a donation. But I can tell you the endorphins and the way you feel after actually physically being involved and carrying furniture into somebody's house. I mean, that is just so gratifying for you as an individual. Like, if you can get involved with your hands, go out and do it. It's a great point. I love that.
No, that's great. I love hearing about that. I know for ERGs here at Realogy, if you guys don't know, one of our pillars or one of the goals that we have as an ERG is reaching out to community, right? How is it that we could give back to community? So I know for our ERG, we've had adopted sort of like the Morristown Neighborhood House, where we collect toys at the end of the year for them and do some other fundraisers for them. This year's a little bit different, right? Because kids' schedules are different. And so the community center is not being used that way anymore. But, there's other programs that we can participate in virtually. One Voice has actually partnered up with HISPA, which is a role model program. And basically, they're looking for role models such as us, to talk about our careers, talk about how education has led us to our career paths. And, these are recordings that are being collected into a virtual library where schools in minority-based communities can watch and look. So just giving like 20 minutes of your time and sharing your life experience can go a long way for a child to be influenced and inspired to a career and know that if they work hard, they can be successful. So those are just a few ideas. It's not always about cutting the check, like you said, Mike. It's also about giving of yourself. And I love the way that you phrased it, Mike, about how you should find something that you're passionate about, right? Because again, it's just that much more fulfilling for yourself and fulfilling for the people that you're helping and reaching out to. All right, so we're on the last minute, guys, and I've loved this conversation so far, so thank you so much for sharing your insight on this. So the very last discipline, which is one of my favorite disciplines, is be active in the lives of your family and children, because familia is central to who we are, and nothing will motivate you more. So I know both of you have children. Both of you are very active in your families. You guys want to share an example of how you live this discipline? Don, I'll start with you.
Sure. So I have a son who's 29, a daughter who's 27, another daughter who's 24, and they'll probably tell you if you were to ask them that I was probably too involved with them, as they were growing up. I've literally coached the girls in basketball. I even coached my son's soccer team when he was 5 or 6 because they didn't have a coach, and I don't even know the rules. I still don't know the rules of soccer. I've attended piano recitals, dance recitals, spelling bees. I mean, everything. And the one that always jumps out, and we laugh about it now as the kids got older, is my middle child, my oldest daughter, was a cheerleader. When she was, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, and she's cheering for a team. I knew nobody on the football team, but I would go to these games to watch her cheer. Okay, and we laugh about that now, but it was something that I could tell stuck with her over these years, and they're very, very appreciative of it now as they've grown.
That's wonderful. That's beautiful. It's important. You know what? Those are the years that you needed to appreciate them. They needed to see you active with them and enjoying that sport that you were coaching and cheering them on. So that's wonderful.
And I've actually shared these 10 disciplines with them as well.
Awesome.
As a result of the work you're doing, Lexi. So I appreciate it, and they certainly appreciate it as well.
Oh, that's great to hear. Thank you for letting me know that. That's awesome. Mike?
Yeah, I'll cap it off with what Don said. I was going to give you a couple of examples and all. I know we're short on time. I think the best thing, honestly, for me, from a COVID perspective, is the fact that, probably like Don, I'm not traveling all around the country and all over the world, and have had the opportunity to have dinner with my kids literally every single night for the last 6 months. So it's been a blessing. But I think just what Don said, like, go out, and no matter what age your kids are, whether they're in high school or first graders, and I have the span like Lex, like you do, and everything in between, go out and share this with them. I mean, there's nothing more important than being for them, coaching with them, being their friend and all that, but also giving them the discipline and the things that they need to be, just to grow up to be great kids and great adults. So, this is a great one that we don't like to talk about a lot. We don't talk about, our net worth. We don't talk about wealth and prosperity. It's something we just don't do in this country. Highlight it with your kids. Make sure they understand these 10, and anybody else you can reach out to kind of educate them on this. It'll go a long way. So Lex, thanks for everything you do, and appreciate the opportunity to be with Don today.
Thank you, guys. Well, listen, I know we're at time. We're a little over time right now, but again, to all of those of you on this call, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Mike, for your wonderful insights into these NAHREP 10 disciplines and giving us examples on how to live them. For those of you on the call, this is recorded, so I'm going to be posting it on Yammer. If you have friends that missed it, point them over to the Hispanic and Latino ERG Yammer page. It'll be posted there. Again, thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of the Hispanic Heritage Month activities, and have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Don. Thanks, Lexi. See you guys.
Mike.
Bye-bye.